go and let's shut this down. Let's take a look at our graph before we review our data. So we can see huge jump, 380 torque, 330 horsepower. We can see between our blue line to our pinkish line here. So big jump. Now the torque here, I probably want to back down just a little bit. So I might back my boost down here maybe a little bit. I don't want to build that much torque, but I do want to pick up my horsepower here. I want to pick this up here. So let's keep reviewing our data here and making our adjustments and changes. So I'm going to do Control O, and let's grab our last data log here and review this data. All right, here's our pool. Let's see what the boost went to since we are looking at that here at this point. So we can see it went to roughly 27 pounds, drops to roughly 20 pounds, 21 pounds. All right, so that's okay. Let's go and take a look here at our wastegate duty cycle. It's still roughly here 80. It's not adjusting much of anything. What I'll do here is now I'm going to bump down in my boost control, my adder here. Let me bump this down to something like maybe 17 or 18. I should do 17. That way it starts to kick in some of our control here. So our wastegate duty cycle table here is 75. It's going in and adding here an extra 5% onto that. Now some of that actually might be, and I'm kind of thinking about that, actually what our correction is. We don't know what our correction is. Let's type in here WG for wastegate correction. Yeah, we can see wastegate correction's not doing anything because it's tracking kind of close to where we want the target to be at. Okay, the reason why there's probably a difference here, we're seeing that it's this is at 80 and not 75. There's probably an air temp compensation being applied right now. If I had to guess here, if I went into my boost control settings, my MAP IAT wastegate correction, yeah, 95 degrees and warmer. We're at least 90 to 100 degrees during the pools. So that's why we see it's 5% adder. So that's where it's adding that duty cycle in, and it's potentially adding on top of our base wastegate duty cycle. So right now I know where it's coming from. I'm okay with that. All right, so we made our adjustment in our boost control. What I want to see is that my wastegate duty cycle correction is starting to actually feedback and slightly changing the duty cycle. That way I know the target that I'm programming, it's going to be trying to hold me or get me near that target, and everything's going to start to work. Let's go in here and review our knock data here since we added that timing in. So that's our base knock, or the raw knock. That's our base. And we see we had, anytime we see an overstep here, that means that's probably an actual knock event right here. So the white piercing the red, that's something to be concerned about. Let's type in K here. Knock retard. And finally K here for knock sum. So we added the timing in. We only see that we have this small area here with registering 3 counts of knock. That's at roughly 2,000 or 3,000 RPM. We can pull our timing back there, but what's to note is we gained a massive amount of power here on the top end as we're looking at our graph, our pink to our blue, and we don't see any knock activity here. We see 0 knock count. So what I'm going to do right here, right in this range, we're going to be pulling out some timing. We go to our histogram table generator, we can actually see where we're at here. That's that point right here. So roughly 2 to 220 in our KPA low registration, around 2 to 3,000. So let's go into our spark timing table and reduce our timing down. So that's our high octane table, and it's going to be right here, 2 to 3,000, right in here. We're going to do 2 minuses, or 2 closed bracket keys, left bracket keys. That's going to take 2 degrees out. High engine speed here, I'm going to add some more timing in. So I'm interested in trying to picking up my top end power. I'm going to bump in my timing here. Let's do 3 more degrees. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to blend that here. Let's do H. And I'm also going to just vertically blend this upwards here. Let's do from roughly 4,000 to, that's about roughly 4,000 here, to roughly 5,500. We'll do V. Bump some more spark timing in. Let's try this. We're just making these small adjustments now. See how much time I can get away with. It's definitely going to pick the power up. This should be about 350, 360, maybe 370 horsepower. Obviously the torque looks great. I don't need to do a whole lot with the torque. What I do want to do is just bump down the boost just slightly, because I don't want my torque that high right there. Now, in fact, if we take a look at our torque, the peak torque here is showing about 3,500 if we're looking at that range right there. That's where it's building the peak boost. So what we can do is a couple things. We can to try to lower down the torque. I want to keep the torque down. we can go into our duty cycle table here. We can bring some of the duty cycle out right here. That's going to be right where it's trying to build all of that. I'm going to set this to 65% duty cycle. And try to go in here and do V. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.